Hello guys, it is Del and I am back with a brand new video. Now it has been quite a while since I've recorded a video, but I'm finally in the position where I can actually start recording again. So that's exactly what I am gonna do because I do enjoy making YouTube videos, and I figured Kerbal Space Program would be a decent game to get back into YouTube with. Now, I know there are a lot of experts out there on Kerbal Space Program. For example, people like Kurt J. Mack, one of the Minecraft gang. I know he is a massive Kerbal Space Program player. But I've actually never seen Kerbal Space Program be played at all before. I know that the little guy standing at the front by here is called a Kerbal. I know the goal is to, I think, get to the moon. And I know that you build spaceships. But apart from that, I'm really not sure what's going on in this game now. This is the first time I've loaded the game up. All I have done is change some of the settings around to make it optimal for recording, or at least the settings that I believe to be optimal. And this is going to be a learning series, basically. I'm going to be learning how to play Kerbal Space Program. You guys can watch and learn along with me, or if you are already familiar with how Kerbal Space Program works, you can watch, laugh at my misfortunes, my mistakes, see how many Kerbals I can accidentally kill in the process, basically. So let's just jump right in with start game. Now, I don't have a save game, so I can't click on that. Start new, or then we've got training and scenarios. I think because this is the first time I've played the game, training would be the best way to go. How many training? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. We've got 8 training exercises. We'll see how long construction basics takes, and we'll just jump right in with this then, I suppose. I'm going to aim for each episode to be around 20 minutes or so, so we'll just see how long this ends up taking. Vessel construction from Werner von Kerman. Welcome to today's lecture on vessel construction. I'm Werner von Kerman. Whether you want to put a satellite into orbit, fly a transcontinental flight, or step onto the very surface of the moon, you're going to need to build yourself a ship. It should be pretty easy, even if you're not a famous rocket scientist like myself. I can tell you, Mr. von Kerman, I'm definitely not. First part required in any vessel construction is a command module. This part will either contain a plucky Kerbal crew or an automated pilot mechanism. Select a command module from the parts list. Well, there's not much to choose from, but go ahead and add that command module. I'm going to presume he means this. That wasn't a very satisfying groan that he just made. Interesting choice. It's not what a famous Kerbal rocket scientist like me would have chosen, but you're just starting, so you don't have that many parts available. Okay. If you ever need to move the vessel around the screen, you can pick it up by clicking the command pod. This will allow you to fit more parts beneath the vessel. Also, if you ever need more information on a specific part, just hover the mouse cursor above it. Right-clicking it will give you even more information. Okay, do I use the keyboard? Oh yeah, I do. Okay, so the keyboard does WAS and D does nothing. Okay, I can, up and down like that. Okay, then I can right click to have a look around. Okay, fantastic. And then I can, move it around. Okay. Fantastic. Next thing we need is some fuel to burn. Select one, well, the only one fuel tank on the left. You really need to start researching, you're missing out on all the cool parts. Anyway, click the fuel tank once to select it, then to attach it to the bottom of your ship, click again on the green node under the command pod. So I presume like that. Not too bad. You might just be getting the hang of this. Small steps first, Mr. von Kerman. Now let's add a rocket to the ship. This creates a jet of high energy gas which pushes the vessel along. Select the one you have available from the left and add it underneath the fuel tank. Sure thing. Seems easy enough right now. Looking good. You remind me of a younger, less experienced, considerably less famous version of myself. You may have noticed a new icon appeared on the lower right when you added that rocket. That is called a stage. I didn't notice that, but thanks very much for pointing it out. Parts that have actions will appear there. You can add new stages to control the order in which these will be triggered. These actions can also be triggered manually at any time using the right-click menu for each part. Some parts are designed to be attached to the surfaces of others radially. These allow you to build intricate radial structures and attach even more rockets. The particular part we have here is a decoupler. What this kind of parts do is cause a tiny... that English seems a little bit odd. It's caused a tiny explosion that separates the parts in the stage directly below them from the full ship. This is especially helpful to get rid of depleted fuel tanks. Okay. Now attach some of these decouplers to the vessel. You can use the 2 large buttons in the bottom left of the screen to control how the editor duplicates and snaps surface mounted parts. After you set some, also add some solid boosters on top of them. You find these in the propulsion tab. See the effect this configuration has on your ship stages, and remember, your ship could always use more boosters. Okay. So if I click, no, am I allowed to click? Oh, okay, it brings that up down there, and then I don't know what I've just done. It looks like I've just left a... Can I control Z? Oh. Oops. Redo. I've forgotten what the button for redo is. I've messed that up. What's redo? Is it control? It's copy paste. I thought it was control X, but let's reset. What have I done? Oh no, I've already messed up. Oopsie daisy. Can I click it and hit delete? Ah, delete. Okay. Let's get what I had back. It was an... Was it a fuel booster in an engine I had? No, it was the fuel tank. So get that, put it back, and get the... I think it was that I had, wasn't it? Yeah, that looks correct. Okay. I think that's back where we were. Your ship looks interesting. If you want to modify the order in which parts are activated during flight, you can click and drag whichever you want to move in the staging UI and move it to a different stage. If you want to see the centre of its mass lift or thrust, you can use the 3 small buttons on the lower left. It seems quite busy outside, doesn't it? That little vehicle seemed a little bit out of control, I'll be honest with you. If you want to see the centre of mass lift or thrust, you can use 3 small buttons on the lower left. Centre of mass, thrust, lift, okay? Basic rule of thumb is that you'll want to keep the centres of mass and thrust centred within the full ship. You won't use the centre of lift much unless you're building a plane. Huh. No, I just want to get ahead and build a plane, to be honest. I should probably bring to your attention that if you just started your space career, you don't have any decouplers of... Well, you could have told me that before I accidentally deleted half the ship. I mean, not that it's really much of a ship at the moment, just some floating parts. You don't have any decouplers available in career mode, but I took the opportunity to showcase one of my greatest discoveries. Last but not least, make sure you assign a name to your vessel by selecting the name box and then save it. Okay, the name box. We are going to call this Del's... This is going to be a fairly boring... Actually, no. Let's call it something fairly interesting. Mistake number 1. Sounds like a fairly appropriate name. Looks like your time is almost up. I have to go give yet another science briefing to the world's media. I've been pointing out that you have very little parts and you should start researching to get more of them. If you don't know how to do this, come join me on the science tutorial. Please show yourself out of the construction facility with the red button on the top right when you're done experimenting. Auf Wiedersehen. Okay, let's have a bit of a play around then. I presume it's, yeah, that button to exit. Okay. So we've got engines, we have fuel tanks, command and control. Has it just given me every single part in the game then? Science, it's double C seismic accelerometer. I'm not going to pretend to know what any of these things do. Pods, I've already got my pod, haven't I? That's that, the command pod Mark 1. Okay. Engines. An engine cluster. Did I put in an engine? I can't even remember. Yeah, well, that's what that is there. Command and control. Advance. Where does... So that would go on there. Oops. Okay. Huh. And structural. Where would I put that? On top? On the bottom? Rocco Max Hub Max multi-point connect. I'm just having a really quick play around before I move on to the next one. Can I rotate? I don't know the button. I wish I knew more of the buttons right now. Well, let's say in the... Have we got any options anywhere? It doesn't look like it. Oh, no action groups, crew, mission flag. What does spacebar do? Nothing. Oh wait, there was a launch button somewhere, wasn't there? Crew, action groups. Place, offset, remote, route. Did I say no, rotate even, not remote. Mission flag, new, load, save, launch. I'm just going to see what happens. I know I haven't. Whoa. What am I looking at? Hello? I can't see anything. What's happening? Abort, retrograde, prograde, normal. Normal. I can't click on anything there. That shrinks that. What's happening? I'm not sure. Docking. Whoa. Oh, okay, I see. Moho, Eve. Oh, these are the planets. Okay, planet Kerbal. I presume that's what we're on. No, I see. I understand that. Camera free. I don't know what. I'm going to abort. Where was the abort button? I've lost the... Oh, the abort button was... The abort button's not doing anything. End scenario. Okay. That went a bit interesting. I'm not sure what quite happened there. I'm going to presume it's all going to be explained. We'll do the flight basics and then we'll call it an episode. Learn the basics of flying spacecraft in KSP. Flight instructor. Oh, okay. Quite an instruments required to launch a simple rocket. And then the science one. Okay. Let's go in with the flight basics then. Hopefully it'll give me a ship to play around with to start off with, because that was a little bit of a fail when I just went into that last when I clicked launch. Obviously, probably because I didn't have those or all the required parts, but you know. Anyhow, welcome to the Kerbal Space Center launch facility. I'm Gene Kerman, and I will teach you the basics of piloting a spacecraft. I trust you already checked the basic construction tutorial. If not, I recommend you do so before going through this one. If you're ready to go, press next. Next. Flying a spacecraft is all about being in control of a generally very chaotic situation. As a pilot, your main flight controls will affect the pitch, roll, and yaw of the ship. Let's look at those first. All the other controls will be locked until they're needed. That's a very good idea indeed, Gene. So pitch is the angle of the nose of the ship in relation to the horizon. So that's W and S, okay? A positive pitch angle means the nose is pointing upward, while a negative pitch angle means the nose is pointing towards the ground. You control the pitch of your ship through W and S. Try it now and notice the pitch. Oh yeah, I see down here. I was just doing it then. W means that goes to the bottom, S means it goes to the top. That makes sense. Yaw is the rotation of the ship around its vertical axis. It is the side-to-side motion of the ship's nose. A positive yaw angle means the ship's nose is turned to the right, while a negative angle means it's turned to the left. And then A and D control the yaw. Okay, that's understandable. And then roll is the rotation of the ship around its longitudinal or front-to-back axis. It is the motion of leaning or banking to the left or right. The roll of your ship is controlled through these keys. Q will roll to the left and E rolls to the right. So if I push down Q, S, and A. No? Okay. Oh yeah, Q, S, and... No? I don't... Oh, okay, it's locked everything else up. I was wondering why all of the dials weren't moving down in the bottom left, but no, that makes sense. By controlling pitch, yaw, and roll together, you can keep the flight in a controlled, leveled flight, like so what I was trying to do a minute ago. Next, let's look at another basic flight control, the throttle. Well, that's how you go forward, so it's probably quite helpful. The throttle control affects the output power of the ship's engines. More throttle means more thrust and therefore more speed and lifting power. Note that throttle will only affect engines that can be throttled, like liquid engines. Solid boosters don't have any throttle control and will burn at top capacity until their fuel runs out. Holding the ship at full throttle over a long period of time can cause the engines to overheat and will eventually explode if that heat isn't managed. So left ship, throttle up, left control, throttle down. I see. Okay. Throttle, pitch, roll and yaw are the main controls you'll need to master for a successful even crash-free flight. Remember that all of these controls have a limited amount of effectiveness, so bigger, heavier ships will probably respond much more sluggishly to the controls than a little small one. That does make sense. It's also good to keep in mind that as stages are separated from the ship, it will become lighter and therefore easier to control. Let's have a look at some of the rest of the flight controls. Thanks, Gene. SAS stands for Stability Augmentation System, although Kerbal astronauts usually refer to it as Sickness Avoidance Scheme. Whatever it stands for, what it does is try to stop the ship from spinning around using the computer-controlled auto-torque drive compensator technology to counteract the rotation of the ship. Keep in mind that to use SAS properly, your ship needs to be fitted with an SAS or ASAS module, otherwise SAS won't have any effect. SAS, or I'm going to now call it SAS, can be activated momentarily by holding down the F key or toggled by pressing T. You can give it a trial, that probably won't do much until we're actually flying. Oh yeah, I see that just lights up in the bottom right, or I can toggle it on, toggle it off, hold it down, and it goes off. That makes sense. RCS, RUX, stands for Reaction Control System. It consists of small thrusters that help control the ship's orientation and translation. The RUX can be activated by pressing the R key. Give it a try and notice the RCS LED turns on when it's activated. So it does. Mind that for the RUX to do anything, your ship must have RUX thrusters and monopropellant tanks installed. RUX is particularly useful when you're out in space, as aerodynamic control surfaces tend to not work very well outside the atmosphere. Okay? In flight, all the planning you put into the staging sequence of your ship comes into practice. From launch to the final deployment of the descent parachutes, you can control the activation of several of the ship's parts by activating stages. Space is launch or activate the next stage. Notice the stage indicator on the lower left corner. I see stage number 2. It shows the currently active stage. Since we haven't launched yet, it's showing the first stage to be activated. I have your staging controls locked for now, so the LED next to the indicator is glowing purple. We're almost done here. You'll be launching in no time. That's fantastic. Now, I presume this is the nav ball. An important part of flying is knowing how your ship is orientated and where it's going. A good pilot is always aware of the ship's altitude, or attitude even, as it's called, and its velocity vector. The big round instrument on the lower centre of the screen is called the nav ball. This device sums up most of the critical information needed for proper death-free flight. That's always the best type of flight when there's no deaths, really. Here you see the ship's nose in relation to the horizon, as well as its heading, compass bearing and speed. You also get several icons that indicate things like your current velocity, but we'll look at those later. There's a lot of reading in this tutorial, blimey. On the upper part of the scroll, I imagine there's probably quite a lot of reading involved in becoming a rocket scientist as well, so it does make sense. On the upper part of your screen, you have your altimeter, vertical speed and atmosphere gauges. The altimeter will show the distance to the planet's surface at sea level. This means the actual surface may be higher up, so watch out for the ground when landing. Okay, that makes sense. Your vertical speed gauge shows how fast your altitude is changing. When launching, it's considered best to keep this gauge pointing up. The atmosphere gauge indicates how deep the ship is in the planet's atmosphere. This helps you know if the ship is high enough for orbiting without losing speed to air resistance, or judge how effective wings and control surfaces will be. These guys on the lower right corner are the crew of the ship. So we've got Bill Kerman, Jebediah Kerman, and Bob Kerman. I feel like Bob Kerman's going to be the hero of this entire process. You do it, Bob. It's generally a good idea to try and keep them alive throughout the flight. I mean, it could be arguable, though. They're not exactly expert astronauts or even much good at it. Actually, they're none too bright for that matter, so don't rely on them to be able to fly the ship without your help. What does IVA do? Ooh, blimey. Does that go into his view? If it does, that's quite... Oh, that's quite cool. You can look at everything from his point of view. I do... Oh, and it's even... Huh. I wonder if that's Bill or Jebediah. I presume, can I look to the left? Is there a geezer on my left as well? There's not. No, there's just a window. That would probably make me feel quite sick because I am not the right way up. Internal view. Aha, you're a curious one, aren't you? The IVA button over each crew member's portrait will let you see the ship from his own perspective. Note that in this mode your flight UI has less instruments since most of them can be found in the cockpit itself. In internal view, right-clicking will toggle between mouse look and interact mode, so you can look around without having to hold down the right mouse button. Try looking around and clicking on things. The engineering department says there are many devices in here that actually work. They seem to be quite proud of that, in fact. You can also cycle through the point of view of other crew members using the V key. Aha. Oh, hey. Who's this guy now? I presume... Oh, he's sat behind them. That definitely does make sense, okay. I don't know whose point of view it is, but... whoever's behind, and then the guy to the right. Okay, and then you return by pressing C. There we go. Okay, on to the next bit. Ready to launch. Wow, okay, but enough talk. I'll unlock all the flight controls and you'll be clear to launch. Actually, all controls except for one. Let's make it interesting. You will not be able to use the SAS control or the SAS control. Okay? At any time, you may press escape to pause the game. In the pause menu, you can restart the flight or end this tutorial and return to the main menu. For now, set your throttle to the max and hit space when ready to launch. Let's give it a shot. This is quite worrying. Oh, blimey. And up you go. The ship you're currently piloting hardly has enough fuel to make it very fast, so just try to keep it steady till you run out of fuel. Okay. And the ship's equipped with a parachute. Never leave home without a parachute. Now will be a good time to activate it. Press space. Okay. And then space to activate the parachute. Have a look at the staging UI. Right, okay. That was a bit of a shock. I don't know. Can I now just play around with the... Oh, okay. Let's get back to being steady again. I'm just going to flip down. Just having a bit of a play about because I can in the tutorial. I wonder if I can get tangled up in the parachute. I mean, that would sure be interesting if that's possible. Oh. Oh, I don't know. Okay, let's just... Space again to activate the parachute, and you know, remain alive and all that. Also take a look at the staging UI, see what happens when you activate stages. Okay, so my staging is currently 0. What does that do? I don't know what that does. That's the staging, docking, or I don't need to look at the orbit map. I'll be honest, I don't have much of an orbit right now. Gradually descending. Have a look at it from Bill's view. Can Bill see outside? Yeah, he's ready to crash into the ground. It's the most anticlimactic drop ever, but very nearly there. I think this is Jebediah at the back. I don't think he can really see anything, to be honest. Oh, we've hit the ground. Okay. Well done. When you're landed or splashed in Kerbal, you can point the mouse just above the altimeter. Click the mouse just above the altimeter and click the recover button to ask to be picked up. Also unlock the crew hatch, so if you feel like going out for a walk or swim, click the EVA button that will pop up when you mouse over the portrait of the Kerbal. Oh, okay, so I can... Oh, so No, okay. I don't know. It had the IVA, but not the EVA button. Maybe I did something wrong, I'm not sure. Time warp. 1 times. Okay, I think that's that lesson over and done with. Wow. Research and development is closed. Oh boy. I've got there's quite a lot of Kermans. Roman, Alfield, Nedzi, Maquin, Ronuki, Merson, Genevan, Johnny, Mackless, Sidley and Kursky. Wow. Mackless doesn't seem like the best with low courage and very high stupidity. Same goes really for Genevan. But they're not missing in action. I thought they got recovered. Oh, I do not know. This is fairly confusing for me. Huh. I've clicked back on the actual building part. Okay, guys, we'll call that episode 1 over and done with. We've successfully launched and landed a vessel, which was interesting. I mean, I am recording this at about 6 o'clock in the morning, so I'm fairly tired, but I think I've managed to take it all in. I mean, I hope you guys have enjoyed, and if you want to keep seeing more, then just remember to either give the video a like, leave a comment saying you enjoyed the video and want to see more, that sort of stuff. It's always good motivation for me to keep carrying on making these videos, basically. But I've definitely enjoyed myself. I hope you guys have had too, and I hope you guys have a good rest of the day, wherever you are. Thanks very much.